Corman! Now, I would just like to make something perfectly clear. I do not hate Roger Corman. No film buff does. There are dozens of things to thank this guy for, like his contributions to classic horror with his excellent Poe adaptations, and the way he started several movie icons' careers off. And on top of that, from all the interviews I've seen of him, he seems like a nice enough guy. But, Jesus, all these horrid monster movies he made in the 50s and 60s just stick out like a sore face. I mean, look at some of these titles. The Brain Eaters, Beast from Haunted Cave, Ski Troop Attack. You might as well stick a swastika flag up your arse if you wanted that level of credibility. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the review. Right, we have looked at two movies that Corman has produced, my least favourite of the two being a monster movie, and now we are looking at one he's directed. And it's a monster movie. All I can say is that we're using the term movie quite loosely today. Attack of the Crab Monsters... F*** it, do I really have to do an introduction? Doesn't the title say everything? Okay, I'm starting. So we start off with some surprisingly high-tech opening credits, with background designs looking quite like something out of a Wicked Walker poster. It's stylish enough, I guess. And then we get a not-so-bad time-lapse of the clouds accompanied by a cool enough narration.
And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air.
Of course, isn't all mankind in the same boat?
But then the movie takes its first wrong turn. It starts. We begin with a bunch of people arriving on a desert... Right. The movie's taking this route. Well, I just need to make sure they're doing it correctly. Question 1. Are there a bunch of people arriving on a deserted island? Check. Question number 2. Are they scientists?
Please, Lieutenant. Some of those men were our friends from the same institute.
Check. Question number 3. Are they all bland, underdeveloped cliches with the majority of them being male brunettes?
You can't see it from the shore. It's back in the hills, at the head of that gorge, just hidden in the cliff.
Check. Finally, question 4. Is there at least one ethnic stereotype?
I'm not so sure you are right, Monsieur Quinlan. Maybe their bodies are gone, but who can tell of their souls, eh?
Check. Okay, well, the movie seems to have everything in order. Let's just get on with it now. So these scientists are looking for another lot who mysteriously vanished on this island. But just as they've got through the door, we get yet another cliché. No, not just a random guy getting killed 3 minutes in.
What's the ball up there?
That's right, they went for the oldest effect in the book and went with full frontal dummy. I never thought I'd say this, but there is actually a line between Z Grader and home movie. I can't say precisely where you are right now, but I think you're getting to somewhere below home movie. And you gotta love the way they just fade away instantly after they've shown the effect, as if just to say, screw it, we know it's awful. We know we can't develop anything any further after showing that. Exploitation at its most exploitive. So discovering that the previous expedition has apparently gone for good, we get our band of scientists packing up to leave. Well, that was a quick movie.
Oh, excuse me, Doctor.
That's quite all right. Just call me Marty.
Okay, Marty.
Almost forgot. Can't forget the tactile and cliche underdeveloped relationship between the male brunette and the soon-to-be damsel in distress.
I'm almost going to enjoy being here.
Yeah, you'd never think it was a complete wreck a few months ago.
If you want to see a wreck, take a look at my back.
That's what she said! Oh, come on, it's the teenage mind. But on their way back to get picked up, rumbling noises begin and budget wasted happens.
Did you hear those sounds just before the quake?
What sounds, mon ami?
The deeper booming and rumbling?
No, I'm afraid not.
You didn't hear the sounds of rumbling? It was practically thunder! How the hell could you not hear that? It's like getting accused of eavesdropping on a private conversation and making the excuse that you can hear it because John Cage's 4x33 was playing too loud in the same room. And if you thought the movie wasn't disjointed enough already, we get a belated and considerably rushed introduction to all the characters.
Dr. Vigon's group is here to study fallout effects at their worst. Dr. James Carson is a geologist. He'll try to learn what's happening to the soil. The botanist, Jules Devereaux, will examine all the plant life for radiation poisoning. Martha Hunter and Dale Brewer are biologists. He works on land animalism while she takes care of the seafood. Dr. Carl Vigon is a nuclear physicist. He'll collect their findings and relate them to the present theories on the effects of too much radiation.
Yes, thanks, we'll remember all of that. So their plane appears to come and pick them up. Now, of course, since we just had about 30 seconds introducing the characters, it's not like something in any shape or form will prevent the plane from picking them up, will it? Of course. But later on they find the journal of the previous expedition, which contains a description of something quite paranormal.
This afternoon, Professor Carter found a large piece of flesh having the same composition as that of the common earthworm, but measured 24 inches by 8. With this section as a measure, the worm-like creature would be more than 5 feet in length. Most intriguing is the tissue's consistency. It proves impossible to cut, knives passing through the flesh, leaving no mark. Fire was applied to the tissue, and the calorie result? The journal ends there.
Really? Worms on fire? Well, I can tell you right now that is the stupidest concept ever.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, good one.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, all right. Awesome, yeah.
Right, yeah.
You're on, mate.
But as the storms become more and more frequent, we cut to two of the scientists sitting in a lab.
You know, I haven't seen any insect life since we arrived.
Shh. Quiet. Listen.
Yeah, funny how the noise started the moment you told the other guy to shush.
Just the wind.
What kind of a video-audio combination is that? You've got a branch lightly tapping a tree and the sound effects making it seem as if Trogdor's doing it. I'll investigate further, guys. So after a pretty pointless underwater scene with some fairly decent photography, the group discovers a mysterious new pit.
You mean this pit wasn't here before?
It has only appeared in the last 20 minutes.
And it's at least 50 feet deep.
Nothing but land crabs.
It's all so original, isn't it? The following night, Martha begins to hear strange voices.
Martha, awake. Martha Hunter, awake. Awake, Martha. It is McLean. Awake.
McLean?
McLean? Who the hell is that guy? They never referenced his name earlier on or anything, so is it the plane's name or something? Yeah, actually, no, I don't care what anybody says, it's the name of the plane. The ghostly voice of the plane leads her to the side of the pit, where she finds some guy who goes down to the pit for some reason and kind of dies. Bit weird. No, his name isn't McLean.
It's all right, honey, it's all right. Where's Jim?
He's in the pit.
Jim. Anyone but Jim. I get so much for Jim. Which one was Jim again?
Dr. James Carson is a geologist. He'll try to learn what's happening to the soil.
Yeah. Tragic. The next day, the scientists begin a search down the pit whilst Martha and her boyfriend begin to hear some strange noises. Nah, it's gotta be the wind.
Dear, what can it be?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out, and I'll stay here, Mommy.
Don't go in there.
Yeah. Shrews were better. Suddenly, though, the electricity goes out, which puzzles the couple, apparently more than a friggin' giant crab did.
Whatever it was must have damaged the wiring. Light one of the kerosene lamps, will you, honey?
Whatever it was? You mean that monster the size of a telegraph pole right in the corridor outside who just tried to kill you and is presumably still there? Just going to casually dismiss it and discuss the electricity loss, huh?
Every piece of wiring has been ripped out and chopped up.
Yeah, mate, I understand it's irritating when the enemy sabotages, but the enemy is right outside your room, and it's a bleeding giant crab, and you are strangely cool with that. Did you two just get so traumatised that you went back to being casual again or something? Because I never thought I'd say this, but this movie is strangely getting more unrealistic than the title is making it out to be. So the movie abruptly cuts to later, and the boyfriend asks about the totally unimportant mutant killing machine that was barely 10 yards away from him a while ago. I mean, I don't know if you would have remembered it or not, it was a pretty forgettable experience.
Why do you suppose it didn't come through the door and get us, Carl?
I don't know. I can only guess. It would take considerable power to keep the intruder behind this door. There is power in the lighting in the living room.
You mean it's afraid of electricity?
I think so.
Okay, so they're afraid of electricity, but that still doesn't explain why the goddamn crap this guy was being so nonchalant about everything. I mean, he didn't know that at the time. You're weird, Corman. Screw it, give me more filler.
But I can tell you this. Everything that has happened from the death of the first sailor to the destruction of our radio must be somehow related. They are too far from the normal scheme of things to be separate accidents.
Well, the title of your movie, Corman, is Attack of the Crab Monsters, so I hate to shatter your wall of professional subtlety, but I think we all know where this is building up to.
We are unquestionably on the brink of a great discovery. It is not likely that that discovery will be of a pleasant nature.
Look, did everyone just forget that this guy saw the bloody thing, or did the bloody writer of this film have amnesia? So the scientists go back to the cave. We get another brief earthquake, followed by this. Corman, sometimes I hate you, but it's at times like these when I want to have anal sex with you. But the guy survives, nothing really important happens, and we just cut to another brief killing scene. Yeah, nothing that important happens there either, so let's move on. The next night, Stereotype McFatty begins to hear the ghostly voice of Jim, and so this begins happening. God, it's like seeing a drunk Mario after a bad one-night stand. But then, wouldn't you know it, he dies too. Is it just me or is this guy getting all the best scenes? I mean, he's the ethnic stereotype, so you'd probably think the contrary, but nope. But after discovering his body is gone, the rest of the team start to hear his ghostly voice.
What is it? I am here.
Are you all right?
Yes.
Look, what's the deal with the ghost aspect in this movie? Are crabs and ghosts really built to go together? Look, I guess in the right kind of 70s, schlocky, grindhouse cinema kind of hands, this thing would have worked. My god, that movie would be awesome. But I mean, if you're telling me that they're doing this in a Corman movie, with no budget, from the 1950s, this is just making the movie slower. I'm here for crabs. So the same night, or the next night, no, I can't really remember. I think it's the next night, it's great. The scientists try to contact the stereotype.
First, I want to reassure you that I am of sound mind, if not of body.
What about Carson?
I'm here too.
Why are you leaving out McLean? What, does he not have feelings now? How could you people be so insensitive? So the ghost Fatty Muck stereotype leads the scientists through the cave to... That's right, the ghost voices were coming from this crab thing all along. So in other words, crabs can translate plain language into English! Look at the thing, it looks like something you'd seen Ray Harryhausen's Potty. So they shoot it, it almost dies, they examine it, a bit anticlimactic if I'm honest. But whatever, it's time for more interesting things, like the scientific explanation.
Apparently we have one of those biological freaks resulting from an overdose of radiation poisoning. The way to explain it is...
Have you ever noticed how much that guy looks like Chico Marx? Because I think he looks kind of like Chico Marx. I mean, the cheeks are a bit chubby, yes, but it's just something in that facial expression. So amongst all the scientific babble, they discover that the crabs are, I'm not joking here, negatively charged.
That proves that the crab is negatively charged.
So they figure that if the crab touches electricity, it will somehow vaporize into thin air. Right. I mean, I'm one of the crappiest scientists living, and even I know it's a new low for Z graders to sink. So Martha and her boyfriend go to the cave to try and set them up, but the crab returns before they can finish, and... oh man, look at those strings. They both swim away from the cave, but the crab begins to catch up with them.
It's no good shooting, Dale. The bullets pass through it just like X-rays.
What a boring explanation. Can you be more imaginative, like... The bullets are just going through the wall! Or maybe they're saving that line for Ghosts vs. Crabs. Can't wait. So now they have a stringed giant crab that looks like decomposing tuna mayonnaise chasing a bunch of humans. Could this scene be any more stupid?
So, you have wounded me. I must grow a new claw. Well...
Look, Roger, I know the crab speaks and stuff, but... maybe try and get the actors to put some kind of emotion into it, you know? Anyway, the team manage to escape the crab and they go back to the labs where, somehow, the electricity begins working again. So the scientists decide to go back down through the caves again. Make up your bloody mind. This guy meets a shocking end. He gets electrocuted. then eaten. And then he explodes. Corman's obviously not very fond of this guy. But the monster ain't dead yet. With the tide coming in, the lab collapses and the heroes climb their way through the hills as the crab chases. God, that sentence felt almost exciting until I said the word crab. This totally isn't stock footage. Shut up, Roger.
But I got 2 grenades left. How about you? I got 4. Let's see what's in the toolbox.
That's wash it, screw it. And so, as we get some proper good Z-grader action, one of the 3 remaining scientists bravely sacrifices his life and electrocutes the crab.
He gave his life.
I know.
What the hell kind of an ending was that? He gave her life! I know! The end! There's honestly not that much to say about this one. It has a lot of the elements of being a good dumb Z-grader, in particular the charmingly awful effects, but it suffers from being absolutely nothing above or below average otherwise. The character is as bland as would be expected, the story is extremely typical, the pace is pretty regular, it's just a Z-grader and not much else. It's not as boring as the giant leeches, but there's not much significantly entertaining about it either. So if you're a bit of a bad movie buff and you want something that will let an hour pass, check this one out. You could call it the quintessential 50s B monster movie, I guess. If you're not much of a bad movie buff, well, let the trailer do the talking for you. But again, let me stress that I love Roger Corman. His Poe adaptations are some of the best and most entertaining classic horrors you'll ever see. Definitely check these out. You won't regret it. I'm the Cinema Kid. See you next time.
Oh, make 'em play that crazy thing again. I've got to do that lazy swing again. Hi-ho, doing the new low down.